You have collaborated with your dad on many books. Tell us what it is like to work with your dad.
Working with my dad is fun. I like him. He's okay. We spend a lot of time talking about things in the first place, and then we go our separate ways to do the work. So it's nice that he trusts me to not mess it up too bad. Yeah. But it's also the sort of thing where I have a tendency to, I want to live up to his words. Like this book, the words are really big. They're all like, you know, born in the 1940s and blah, blah, blah. You know, they're sort of stately. Blah, blah, blah. They're not like blah, but you know what I'm saying. And so I kind of wanted to do paintings that lived up to his words, and that was exciting as a challenge. So.
What's the best memory of your dad from your childhood?
The best memory of Dad from my childhood? I have a lot, and I guess that's a good question. I'll tell you one of the ones I'll tell you two that stick out for me in relationship to both this book and also to just having my dad used to write on the porch of their house. So he would go out in the morning, and so when we lived in Queens, he used to write on the balcony with his typewriter. And that's just such a good thing to watch growing up. The other thing is we traveled a lot when I was a kid. And so we went to places like Egypt and Thailand and Mexico. And we'd go around and I'd learn both about the history of those places, but also about the history of the United States through that sort of thing. And that was really good.
For both of you, like me, you attended the school in New York City. Can you tell us about the teachers or teacher that inspired you to write and illustrate?
I had a teacher in the 5th grade, Mrs. Conway. I was in District 5, and she caught me reading a comic book during class. She snatched up my comic book and tore it up. But then she brought me books from her library, and the first book she bought was East of the Sun, West of the Moon, and I was hooked on reading from that. And she kept bringing books from that. The other person I would like to mention is I had a teacher in high school, and I didn't do well in high school. I had family problems, and she knew I was going to drop out. And she said to me, you know, you write very well, so whatever you do, continue writing. And so when I joined the Army when I was 17, and I got out of the Army and knocked around, and I always remembered what she said, and I went back to it.
For me, you know, you go to a performing arts school. When I was 12, when I was your age, I went to the Art Students League on 57th Street, and I took life drawing classes, and I drew all the time. And I had one teacher there, Gregory D'Alessio, a really old Italian dude, who never treated me like I was too much of a kid. Like always thought, well, you know, if I drew something wrong, he would tell me I drew it wrong. And I really appreciated that, and the Art Students League always stays with me. Just that practice, that like old kind of classical drawing practice. That's the same way that, you know, you go to school to learn about your craft now.